Hey, what's up, Podcast America? Welcome to, I think this is now episode 30 of the Enlightened Neanderthals podcast. And before we get started, Mike, have you seen the new Mankini from Allegiance Holsters?
The 2023 or the new 2024 edition?
The 2024, because if you are packing a Magnum, smuggling, really,
we all are, aren't we?
Really smuggling some meat.
Yeah.
What you need is a Mankini from Allegiance Holsters.
I like it.
And if you don't have enough to fill up a Mankini, go ahead and get yourself an inside the waistband holster for your 9mm. And also get yourself an individual first aid kit, also known as an IFAK, because if you are not an everyday carry person with a weapon, you should be with a first aid kit. And use code TNW10 when you check out for a little discount to help offset that shipping cost. Next, we have Tyler and Vanessa Stanaway, and you can find them at the compassionateviking.com and check out Tyler's podcast, also called The Compassionate Viking. And there's just a whole slew of interesting shit they got going on out there. It's almost too much to list. Yeah. And I now even call Tyler, he's like the Electric North shaman. Shaman, grower, farmer, philosopher. Everything. All around badass. Yeah. And Vanessa's great too. Yeah. Vanessa's always out there doing homesteading projects and whatnot. Yeah. And the both of them are fascinating. And then finally, we have my own Training Northwest, located out here in Granite Falls, Washington. We'll have our 2024 shooting class schedule posted in December. And currently, we are booking private lessons on Saturdays and Sundays. I think there are still 3 Saturdays open in November. So if that's something you're interested in, you can get a hold of me at trainingnorthwest@protonmail.com. All right, Mike, this last episode, we didn't even come close to our topic. Do you remember?
What was our topic? I forget.
God, what was it? Oh, we were going to talk about the Israel-Hamas debacle.
But I think that's what fueled this conversation, was just the passion. We kind of like, it's like 9/11. You kind of hurt, and you see these big events happen, like where war and deaths happening, and it's like it just makes you hurt. And I think we're all kind of on a trajectory towards bettering ourselves. So it's like, why not also, how can the world be better? And I think we all just kind of reflected upon what we could do to make our community better, and then like what that could do to make the entire, how do you do that on a global scale? And of course, there's debate and deviation.
Sure. And it was kind of an extension of our Dictator for a Day conversation. So if you haven't listened to that one, go back in the archives and check that one out before you listen to this one. All right, guys, enjoy the show. So I saw the weather forecast, and I thought the lows were like 40.
No, the lows are like 20s.
Oh, okay.
We're at like 8,000 feet, boys.
That's what we were last year. I mean, that temperature wise, and I think we were getting down to like single digits at night.
His place
near Chelan, where we were. It was cold.
You don't say specifics, but yeah.
Lots of places are near Chelan.
Chelan, Vegas.
Yeah,
it's a resort. It's
an
indoor
animal. It was in or at a place near.
Yeah. But this year it'll be 8,000 feet.
So lows of 20 or 20s during the day?
No, highs will be in the low 40s. Because snow's, all this rain right now that we're getting, there's a storm moving in. Huh? So there's going to be a little bit of snow. And so where we hunt is kind of dependent on the weather because the elevation is so drastic.
Yeah.
So it's like we can go from all the way to the top at the pass, 8,000, 9,000 feet. But as the weather moves in, we might have to go lower. So then it's like, okay, so now we got spots moving out of the mountains, kind of to where the farmlands meet. And then it's like, okay, well, even if it's starting to move in and get worse than that, we can go way down lower into the desert area. But where the desert is, it's all sagebrush and rattlesnakes. But that's hunting.
But they go away around now.
About now they're gone. But I mean, there's always a couple stragglers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what hunting is. It's like, I want to go deer hunting, and I would love to say it would be 70 degrees high and with a chill of, 38 in the evening. Something where it's pleasant to walk around in the day, but the night, say you get something, you could hang meat, keep it in the shade.
Makes
It'll
it nice.
keep. Yeah. But
There is a grizzly walking around those parts. Yeah, it's grizzly.
you get
habitat,
close because you're getting
supposedly.
closer to Canada. Yeah. In the West. So.
I got a holster for the old 10mm.
But isn't there supposed to be there's a grizzly at Chinook? Someone got a grizzly on their trail cam.
Yeah, and that didn't stop anybody from.
No, we had the best time ever. But this fishing trip, so that first spot I want to go, T Lake. We'll say the rest later. Not on the air.
Testosterone Lake.
Yeah, Testosterone Lake. So it's really high, but you look at those YouTube videos about that lake, and they're pulling trout that are like 12 inches. It looks really good up there. So this has been on my bucket list, and I'm glad you guys are coming with me. But to hunt and to fish at the same time, I mean, did we just orgasm in the woods? Because both my needs are getting satisfied. It is, you travel to fish.
I just got my license just to make sure everything was legit.
Yeah.
We should probably say that if there's not an episode next week, it's because we're gone hunting.
Yeah.
So we might have a little break here.
That's fine. The fans love us. They'll wait.
They know.
Yeah. Thanks, you guys. All 7.
I hope my back is healthy in time. I'm legitimately concerned about being able to walk with a pack on.
I hope my ribs fine, you guys.
Yeah.
I
all
hope I don't step on a snake or sit on one. You know, what if you just go to try and take a little...
I grew up over there. I'll keep you safe.
Yeah. If I get bit, say I go to take a seat and a snake bites me in the ass.
Oh,
You sucking it out, bud?
Yeah. You got to hang on, though. In order to get a good seal, just like on a respirator where you have to shave your face, we're going to need you to shave your ass just in case.
Just for the trip.
Just in case, yeah.
Yeah.
You should preemptively shave your ass.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
If someone needs to suck rattlesnake poison
I
out
thought
of
you
them,
meant in the field. Like,
No.
in his hunt kit, there's a kill kit, there's a light kit, there's a
razor.
cook kit, and then there's a shave kit. But not for your face. So weird.
What is a razor blade for?
Why does it have nair? So odd.
It's easy to
oh, his
wipe
hair's
away.
clogged in here. Oh, man.
That shit doesn't work, so don't worry about it.
Nair?
No,
Your hair's so coarse it
sucking.
doesn't work.
You ever sucks?
You know what's funny is the trip we're going on in 5 days is the one, like talking about this trip is what spawned this podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because this podcast was originally conceived after last deer season as let's do a video for like a
Pack
Training
kit.
Northwest YouTube video with our backcountry hunting kit.
What's your loadout?
And then we sat down to talk about how we do it, and then we realized
these guys
we
are
should
awesome.
start a fucking podcast. yeah, that was the first time we sat down and talked.
Yeah,
Really.
it was.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And then episode 2 was backcountry loadout with Jake.
Yeah. Do you guys go back and listen to the old episodes?
I haven't, but yeah, to
My
listen to one or
favorite thing
two.
is to like get so fucking high at night. I'll get so stoned, and then I'll put those episodes on. But it's like there are so many gems in those. Like,
Those young
That's
hard
what-
bodies.
yeah, but not only the
What
gems
episode
of
was
like
that?
the giggles, but that's Pello. But
He knows.
yeah, of course. But like, not the fun, but like, there's been a lot of good conversation with like
yeah.
very striking points that I go back and deserve re-listening.
If we could cut out the Ask Jackery, this would probably be a pretty popular podcast. The problem is
Yeah, we're dumb.
we need to fill it in.
We're too dumb.
I'm here.
I like laughing more than I do learning. So yeah, there's a consequence to be paid, but there is a lot of good stuff. And it's like, I forget what we say. Like, remember when we first started and I was like, send me the episode as soon as you upload on the computer. Cause it's like when you hit that button of record, I fucking black out. Like we just start talking and having normal conversation, but it's like,
Oh, I thought you
If-
meant you got nervous and forgot.
no,
Okay.
not it's. But you talk. When you talk about a lot of things, and it goes a lot of different areas. And someone's putting input into you, and you're absorbing it, and then you're trying to interpret it in your life, and then relaying your points or what you agree or what you don't agree back. And it's fun to kind of go back to these episodes and listen because you forget everything you say.
Yeah.
But it's like, they're not bad, but it's like, there's so much coming out, and it's like in your head, you're like, I'm this person. This is what I think. But then when you go back and you listen to it, it's kind of interesting hearing the way you'll articulate a point or what you think the strongest argument for that point is. And sometimes you'll say things that you don't even think that you think. It'll just blatantly get said because you're speaking so much, but it's kind of from the heart, so it comes out honest. And you'll listen to it and you're like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. I said it, but I haven't really internalized that thought and processed it more.
Yeah.
Or the things that you guys say. It's very interesting, the rapport that we get sometimes. So my favorite thing,
Absolutely blasted.
but it's not like, not blasted, but a little blasted. But it's not like stroking the ego, like, look how good this is. It's like, this was the point of this for me, was like idea sex, mental masturbation, like what I present like crazy thoughts, or you guys think I'm, communist Mike,
Oh, yeah.
but it's like, I do some of the things I think I'll say it, and then it makes me examine it more. But then also how you guys react or counter it, it makes me think how I could process even better,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's fun. I like it.
Yeah. No, it's a blast. The whole thing has been.
It's interesting. It's unlike
little
anything I've
experiment.
ever done.
Yeah.
It's an experiment, and that's what I like. It's new. It's interesting.
Well, and we also hit 10,000 downloads. We're kind of a big deal. I don't know if you guys
on
know
our
that.
way.
Yeah.
Canada's probably shut us off right now.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Canada definitely shut us down.
Yeah. They don't allow.
What if we're on
Unapproved.
Trudeau's top 10 podcast list? So
would be
what
amazing.
if?
Yeah. Could you imagine? Well, so what's the deal with Canada doing that? Because that was only like a month or two ago. That
Canada is going
Canada's
full
gone nuts.
fascism.
But that's what I mean. Like
COVID broke 'em.
They shut down like
Media.
the internet.
They literally, it's like only state approved media can be transmitted.
And that's
Which
been
is-
so
that's-
good throughout
That's
history.
fucking Soviet. You know what I mean?
wild.
That's Soviet
Yeah.
style.
This is awesome. They're doing well.
If the government does not approve your media, whether it's YouTube
that's
videos, podcasts, newsreels, whatever,
but COVID,
you can't
Korea.
put it out. Yeah.
But COVID
Shit.
is kind of the thing that topped them over. Like when COVID first happened,
Knocked
I
them
felt
over.
like,
Really made them pull their masks off is what it did.
yeah, but I mean, like,
I'm waiting to
it's
put
like
them on.
it's like the end of the Scooby Doo when it shit.
They haven't taken them off. That's the problem. These fucking guys. Yeah.
but Canada and Australia during COVID
Number one import, blue hair dye.
of Canada.
Hey,
I'm sorry to beat it. But Canada and Australia kind of both went
Yeah.
nuts
And New
during COVID.
the whole
And
Commonwealth,
New Zealand-
the entire Commonwealth.
But Australia seems to kind of have pulled back, whereas Canada has taken that
I
momentum
don't think
of
Australia has
that,
pulled back at all.
and they've ran harder. Really?
Okay, you're right. Canada has pushed. Canada
They've
has
they've
continued
gone.
to forge ahead. Yeah.
Like the passport stuff,
Everybody
the
kind of hit pause
vaccine.
at some point.
Australia kind of hit the brakes a little,
Yeah,
where
but-
Canada like took that momentum of that COVID and like the powers, and they kept going.
Yeah. Trudeau is like drunk with power.
No,
Yeah.
No.
not okay.
Trudeau. Not Trudeau.
Yeah, true. No, you know what I'm saying?
Number one, 10,000 downloads, baby.
I mean, it's crazy to me that like that is happening and people are at all okay with that.
They're
But
disarmed.
what can they do? Yeah.
That's right.
He nailed it right there.
I think they banned.
Because look at what they did when they wanted to use their voice. They did the trucker convoy.
Yeah.
And
they
what did that
they froze
do?
their bank accounts, and then they
Yeah.
sent the SWAT team out with guns, AR-15s, to break in their windows, and we're like ripping people out of cars at gunpoint.
So if they want to be a democracy and they're like, listen to our voice, and a group of people are talking, and I mean, did they do anything? Was occupying that illegal? I mean, if it's
who knows?
what
But
goes
it wasn't violent.
But no, I even go into our own constitution, like peaceful protest. Like, at what point is it not peaceful anymore? If you're occupying
that
a
trucker
square,
rally, they were having like dances at night. People were just hanging out.
Yeah.
It was like the
legitimate-
most Canadian protest.
Oh,
they
it
could
was
ever
the
be.
nicest
Like,
thing
hey,
ever.
don't you know? You want some hot tea while we're down here at the trucker protest?
Maple syrup for everyone.
Yeah.
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 But at what point, if like you hold a protest, is it holding up the commerce of the community
Yes,
around
that's
you?
the point of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So was that
To get attention and draw attention to the fact
No.
that you're-
So like, what is peaceful still? Like, if you stop businesses from working, I'm not saying
it's
what
not
they're doing
violence.
is wrong.
It's, I understand that it's detrimental to business, but it's not violence.
Exactly.
It's peaceful.
So could you be unpeaceful
But
by
the whole
stopping?
point is that if
Yeah,
the government wants to serve its private entities, like if the big businesses, which government is supposed to serve business and the citizens, then they could have listened to what the fuck the truckers were saying and said, hey, you know what? If this many people believe in this thing this much to do this, maybe we should pay attention.
Yeah.
Instead, they sent SWAT teams to crack windows and drag people out into the streets.
Yeah.
And they showed their ass.
Yeah.
Right? Just like I said, at the end of the Scooby-Doo, they pull off the mask and it's like, oh, it's a fascist communist.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird when it's like, if the job of the government is to listen to the people, and when the people are speaking, you don't lend an ear, it's problematic.
Right, because
Yeah.
what we've lost in, at least in the Western world, is that the government no longer serves the people. The government serves its big money interests.
Yeah.
And the government is actively taking from the middle class and the poor. They're not even they're loosely trying to hide the fact just by spreading sort of misinformation on mainstream media. But their actions are so overt at this point that anybody with common sense who's willing to sort of be like, all right, I know they're saying this, but what I'm seeing is corruption at the highest levels and not even trying to hide it, then more and more people are kind of quote unquote waking up because it's so in your face now. They just don't care. They don't try to hide it.
Do you think
Hundreds of millions of dollars they're retiring with.
It's like, and not only it's $220 million a day goes to Ukraine. The U.S. national debt, I read today, has gone up $44 trillion in the last, I think, 6 months.
sounds about right?
44. We are another $44 trillion deeper in debt than we were 6 months ago. And if they continue at this current rate, God, I can't remember what it was an astronomical figure that it came out to in like 5 years. And it's like, okay, there is a corporation called the United States of America Incorporated, and it's about to be fucking bankrupt.
Oh, we're already there. Who do we pay this money back to? When they say, I get that, like, our debt, I hear our debt, and they're like, it's this many trillion. Who does that? Is that the taxpayers?
the
Like a
banks.
bond?
Well,
It should be,
I think
but it's a bank.
It should be, but they're borrowing against our future labor.
But who are they borrowing from? What bank? What bank has 44 trillion?
No, I think it's all these hedge funds and
does
banks
Elon
in
Musk
different countries.
Yeah.
That's a great
Yeah, but
question.
doesn't he have more money because he actually physically built something?
I feel
Who
like I should
gives us
Google
this money? Like when we're in debt, like I know we owe China money and other countries due to debts, but is it all other countries?
What does it really mean at that point?
Yeah. Like,
Like,
what is
it's
gold?
favors.
Yeah.
I owe you a favor.
I owe you 33 trillion hand jobs.
Yeah,
Back
it's a
home.
lot of
Yeah.
masseuses.
We rule the world.
Good Lord.
It doesn't make sense though.
Okay. As of October 2023, the U.S. owes $30.9 trillion in national debt, including $24.3 trillion held by the public. So I would assume that's like the stock market,
Bonds.
bonds. Yeah,
I would say bonds.
Private
If
bank.
it's a public, it's bonds. If it's a stock, it's private, right? Wouldn't that be a private investment? You're investing.
It says the other $6.6 trillion in intergovernmental holdings. So I guess that would be like land hold. I
have no
fuck knows what that
Sounds
means.
to me like something.
Okay, the
fishy
public includes foreign investors and foreign governments, which account for 30% of the debt. Individual investors and banks represent 15%. Over 20% is incurred for intergovernmental holdings, mainly for Social Security and Medicare trust funds.
You know what the problem I hear when you say that?
The U.S. government owes trillions of dollars in debt to foreign entities, including governments, central banks, companies, and individual investors.
You already said it.
Yeah. So they're selling. They'll sell bonds to China. They'll sell bonds to the U.S. citizen. They'll sell bonds to BlackRock. You know what I mean?
But that allows corruption, right?
Oh, fuck yeah,
If
it
it's not, so if the people, like a bond, like war bond style, right? If the people are buying into it, then you're paying it back to the citizens of your state, right? So if you're selling it to foreign governments and entities like a bank and there's an interest rate, well, now you can reduce, like, so when you have a mortgage, right? You have your principal and you have your interest. You can pay down extra on the principal, and that automatically reduces your interest that you owe because everything's slowly growing. So, like, there's ways around it, but a bank can also be like, hey, or a foreign government can be like, hey, instead of 13%, if you do this, I'll lower this interest rate to 12% and we'll knock off some money. And because you did it, it's a deal, right? You did this for our country, we'll do this for you, right? That
Like I
is
said, it's all
corruption, though.
favors.
Yes, but that is
I
how
think it's
you
more
instantly
like,
get
hey,
corruption.
We're gonna invade Taiwan, and if you interfere, we're gonna call in all our bonds.
Right, but that is corruption. You're allowing that market to be dictated by a
at what
foreign
point do you just
power.
go,
Yeah. No.
you know what? You're not getting paid.
But that's what I mean. That's what
Debt
I'm.
erased.
But that's what I mean. Like, that debt should be the Americans' debt. The fact that our debt is owed to other countries that could either have our best interest in their favor or against us.
Yeah.
Just the
Well,
fact
they
that politicians are borrowing against our future efforts
Right. So that automatically
without my permission. I
Yeah,
don't want them
I didn't
borrowing
say yes.
against my future labor.
Yeah.
Nope. Fuck them.
But that's what's happening. And there's not really anything we could do. We have this conversation where we're like, that's kind of fucked. What do we do about it? Like, the system's so far in effect, like, and moving so fast. It's a train. And how do we act as the brakes? How does
Unless the entire, I think you have to replace all these lifelong people in the Senate and the House, and then at the state level as well, because this is all they've ever known is government work. And so to them, money is just this thing that it's not tangible to them, right? They never held it in their hands. They just have a line item, which is their budget, and then they have things that they want to spend money on. And when they're out of money, then they borrow more because it's just a number on a screen or on a paper.
Yeah.
it's true,
And
but
it's not there.
As it's progressing, they're looking at it and going, oh, well, this is just, it's worth that. It's the number is huge on my screen. And well, I've seen it before. No big deal.
Yeah.
Not taking into account the man hours it takes to create that.
yeah.
Because that's what they're looking at. They're looking at,
I mean, that's what
Life-
money is. Money
life-
is life energy
like, yeah.
that you put into providing a service or a product for someone else. And that goes back to my
Yeah.
producers versus takers thing. If you are putting your life's energy into creating something, whether it's a product or a service that somebody else wants or needs, then you are a producer.
Yeah.
Everybody else is takers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the government is full of takers. And because they've been career lifelong takers, they don't understand what production is. They literally don't get that concept of somebody has to put in the labor.
What do you guys think the best government would be? Besides Mike
Not yours.
Zedong, but like, if you wanted
One
to be
in which the whole
ruled,
world.
do you ever think about this? Like, if, like, I don't want to rule other people. Personally, I rather be a part in the wheel. I rather be part of the system and have a life that I don't have to worry about all this
on
other
a very
shit.
small scale, like communism, like community,
Yeah.
right? You know, imagine if
First
30,
off,
30
we
of
need
us
districts.
Doo-doo. Hunger Games style.
So on a small scale, like 100 people or less,
Yeah.
communism is pretty good because everybody's working together. You're part of a team. You're shared
Yeah,
struggle,
yeah.
right? And
I mean, yeah, there's valid points. I mean, that's what fire department,
but
cops
it can
and
only be
safety.
good at a small level because it's not top heavy there. As soon as it gets big enough that it can get top heavy, then you get the corruption. But to be fair, our own democratic republic system was pretty goddamn good until we overregulated ourselves.
Yeah.
So like up through like the late 1800s into the early 1900s, up to about the Cold War,
Yeah.
it was working very well. And then we just started, like, you have, again, career bureaucrats who their yearly performance review is based on, well, you have to show some bullet points of what you did. So they add a new regulation to be like, look what I did this year.
We did this.
We
made something happen.
Compound that by however many thousand people work for the government times however many years. And they're each adding some little sentence here or there.
Yeah.
A little fee here and there. You know what I mean? A little fee here, a little sentence there, a permit there. And before you know it, we live in this incredibly restrictive society. We are a country of can't. We're a bunch of goddamn Mexicans.
No. Well,
think about anytime you want to do anything. There's all these. Well, how many days a year can you hunt? 10.
There's a lot of red tape.
Yeah. Where can you hunt?
Yeah.
Right.
Red tape.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's constant.
We are a country of no, you cannot do that. Whereas we were founded as a country of yes, the fuck you can.
Do you think
That's
that comes with
true.
more people though?
It comes
Like-
with more
Like
people.
that 100 group tribe that communism works well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works well in a country with 100 people.
but
But
I think our population density is too much.
too much or not spread out enough? Because we
Either.
are a very least
We're on the
less
dense, yeah.
dense country compared to our land topography and geography.
Yeah, no, I do think that we are overpopulated, and I don't think that we should have like a genocide or anything. I think just through like responsible.
Jordan, when he said genocide, your head lowered so much closer to the microphone. I so thought you were interjecting.
Or maybe we should.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe we should.
I think that there's some people we could do without.
Yeah, but okay, sorry. I do think we're overpopulated. I think that if there were fewer people, we'd have more elbow room. Like think about how if right now if you drive through the suburbs, every square inch of space they're throwing up a condo or a duplex or something to just pack more people in.
Yeah, but we're not overpopulated. We're too densely
Clustered.
populated.
Yeah.
It's not over. Like think of the state of Washington.
That's because we're near the resources. Historically, populations
But
gather
how? We
near
have
the coast.
roads. We have exactly. So this state should be stretched out way further.
But the economic
instead of
centers are centered around tech industry and Boeing, which is all right here in the Puget Sound.
tech. You can be anywhere though now.
Yeah, you're starting to see
And
that.
why can't you set up centers in Spokane and other places?
They are.
And other,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
spreading.
through
It is spreading.
like
It's spreading. But right now, I still think we're overpopulated where we are.
we're not.
I should
We're
say so in
too
the Midwest.
densely
In the
populated.
Midwest, they're
Yeah.
not overpopulated.
Yes.
But there's not a lot of economy there. In the mountain or the Appalachia, they're not overpopulated, but there's fucking zero economy there,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would just like a little more elbow room, I guess, is all I'm saying, and a little less regulation.
But this what goes back to my thought of cities. It's like cities are tremendous because of what they bring us. Like
They're economic engines.
yeah, but also they're hubs for community. Like they were.
They're not.
No,
now.
they're not. They're not at all.
We've gotten too
well,
far.
we've
We've
lost
gotten too.
that.
Yeah, we've
The
gone
small
too
town
far.
was a hub for community. That's what church used to be. Everybody came into town from their farmsteads on Sunday, not so much for the sermon, but to talk to everybody else. And you'd have the little picnic afterward, the gathering afterward, and that was everybody's sort of. That's how news traveled. That's how you know what I mean. That's when people socialized. It's on Sunday after church.
Yeah.
They're working their ass off the rest of the time.
Yeah, fucking dragging that plow, boy.
Yeah. I wish we could go to what I think about all the time is a group of us buying crazy amount of acreage and just living off the land and building.
I was looking at another 40-acre plot, and I was texting it to Greg and Gordon. But if you guys want to look at another 40 acres out in Granite Falls,
I do.
I mean,
we'll talk. We'll talk after this.
my dream is to get east of the mountain.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like what
that's
you have.
that's
but
where I grew up, and
yeah.
that's what I want to get back to.
But once again, population density.
Yeah.
I like
looking
that.
Over near Aniat, there was 600 and something acres for. I want to say it was like 200,000.
Was it all sagebrush or was it up
200,000?
Was it?
Up in the hills, but they had just logged it.
I can live in a pretty plush tent. Have you remember my elk tent?
Yeah.
That was
wall
pretty
tents,
nice.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll talk offline.
All right.
Yeah, I think having a small, tribe of people, and what does that small tribe of people look like? 1,000, a high school size. I want there to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I went to Snohomish High School, and like when I was in middle school to high school, the town was like 5,000 people, and it's like, dude, this is fine. This is
that was perfect.
problem.
OMAC was also 5,000 people.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was Americana.
So 10,000 people's fine too if you get a little larger.
Yeah, but
That's when you start to lose character. Like the larger you get, the more character you lose.
Yeah.
And eventually you're just a city.
I think the
You've got
larger
strip malls.
the larger you
crime.
get and the more you go on top, the worse you get. You can get larger
Do you
and
think
go
cities
out.
go to shit because most of the government assistance goes there because they can build things like project housing, and for whatever reason
I think companies get too big and they strip away all of the character of places.
Look at Seattle. Even before Seattle turned to shit with crime, its
90s,
character was stripped by Amazon.
In the 90s,
In the 90s,
there
it
was
was
all
fucking
kinds of
amazing.
character.
Yeah, but it was also defined by companies. It was defined by Boeing. It was
Starbucks
defined
and
by
Boeing and all that.
Kenworth and by
But also
Starbucks.
that was a
Rainier beer.
small.
Rainier beer.
That those companies.
You're welcome, Podcast
were
America.
Dwarfed by what we have now.
Yeah.
I mean, Boeing is
That's when
also
Starbucks was like a
weapons
quaint local
manufacturer.
company.
Yeah, but I mean,
But Boeing was up north in Everett, where like kind of like that was
No, it was based out of Seattle. They
their
had
corporate office.
They had corporate, and then they finalized up north, but they were a Seattle base.
Okay.
I mean,
but they didn't have a huge presence. Their presence was all at the big factories.
World War II. That's what Seattle was.
Yeah.
Was warplane.
That's what Boeing Everett was in Auburn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
not
all
Seattle.
these places. No, well, but Seattle had R&D development,
Okay.
and that's where it had that test field. Well, I mean, what is it now?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, right by
Yeah.
the stadiums.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I either way, I think it's big companies will strip away, and not to say it's like Boeing or things like that. I'm saying it's like the fucking CVS store that is now taking up that mom and pop shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they get so big. It's stores like that
That's
that
true.
are
You have a Starbucks on every corner and no more
when
family-owned coffee shop or diner or whatever.
and that's where I think there's a lot of character, because then people get to run their business how they see fit.
But
And
before
it's not-
Starbucks, was there a ton of coffee stands?
Well, I'm not saying. Well, fucking
Starbucks-
coffee, it doesn't matter what
think
it is.
I think it was more like diners where you would go and you get
Yeah, you
eggs
go to a
and
diner,
coffee.
and you still go to a diner for that experience. That Starbucks
I think they're
drove
used
that
to
which
industry.
diner?
I think-
which diner do you
Yeah,
go
exactly.
to, Mike?
69er diner.
Yeah, you go to. There's like two that are not a chain.
But I don't go to diners, and I don't go to
Either
coffee
way, where do you
stands.
go that's not a chain? When was the last time you went to some place that was like a true on its own?
Are you kidding
standing-
me?
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say, and granted,
No.
There's
Yeah. Number one karaoke.
holy shit. I can't believe I forgot about the guy falling off the stool and having us. Did we tell the story on an episode yet?
I don't think so.
No, Jesus Christ. Okay, so we came home from bear hunting well after dark, and we got back into town in Granite Falls at what, like 10 p.m.
10:30.
Yeah, so we tried our normal hunt, and the kitchen was closed, and they said try this place around the corner, and we walked in, and it was a little dive, and we couldn't really tell who was working and who
little
wasn't.
dive?
Yeah, it was small, and it was very divey.
The girl serving the bar had a thong on. Remember that?
that was awesome.
Dude, when we sat down there and that girl turned around, it was like, I looked and you saw me looking, and then you looked, and I think Tobin looked at us looking, and I could only imagine someone walking in and all our eyes were looking at that dude.
Keeping her warm with her.
I just remember the guy in the corner with the giant belly wearing a T-shirt with the sleeves cut off that said "Armed and Dangerous."
Hell yeah.
I love it.
Oh God! And then I went to the bathroom, and that guy like latched onto me as I'm trying to pee, and he's like, "Where you
we gotta clean
because I had my Kuyu hunting pants on, and he's like, "Where are you coming in from, bro?" I was like, "I'm trying to pee," and he's like, "Yeah, I just got." He's hammered. He's like, "I just got off Green Mountain. There's cougars everywhere up there. You got a cougar tag?" I was like, "No, man. I'm just trying to pee." He's like, there's so many fucking cats up there. You got to get yourself a cougar tag, go up to Green Mountain. It's like, right on, man. Now I'm trying to get out of the bathroom.
I got a cougar in my hands. Why don't you shut the fuck up, buddy?
Now I'm just trying to get past you and get out of the bathroom. Yeah. So then I went and sat with my back to him, and he latched onto you guys. And
yeah, but we just ignored him after a while. And
at that point,
At
that point, homeboy has a seizure at the bar, falls off his bar stool onto the floor, and Jordan and Mike and I jump up, and we're starting to grab the back of his head, keep it off the floor, and they're like, whatever his name was, Bill, come on, hey, you're okay.
Fucking get up.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, should we call 911? They're like, no, he does this. And then when his seizure was done, they stood him up, put him back on his bar stool, and shoved him right back up to his drink at the bar.
No, he left. I think he should.
Oh, did he left? Oh,
he went outside.
He went outside and sat down.
You're right, but they did put him back up on a bar stool.
Get some air. Yeah,
that's the best thing for you.
Yeah, go air
you fall off your bar
out.
stool because of a seizure. You should probably get some air.
God damn.
They're just like, we're gonna drive you home. It's like, the hell you are. I'm like, oh God.
People are tough.
All right, what were we talking about?
Having a small group of people running. What style of ruling would you want to be under?
Not that guy.
Well, I mean, if we had like a tribe, like a large fucking tribe, like I really.
But then what's the
that's good
hierarchy
though.
look like?
No,
village
perfect.
Elders or
so how do we build a
that's
constitution that fits for 10 people that also fits for 100 million people?
Well, I think you go. You open up your Bible.
Isn't that what religion is? I was just about to say. Isn't that what religion is?
Yeah, and
but religion was a form of government
and
before things,
well,
and then it really turned into government. Like if you look at oh God, not Copernicus. Who invented the telescope? Galileo. Like they threw him in jail. He died in jail. He got out of jail, and then he died in jail because what he went against the church was heresy.
Science.
Yeah, exactly.
But okay, so
how do you make it?
So you, like I said, you open up that Bible, and you go,
"Thou shalt not kill."
What are the commandments, and why are those things? Treat your neighbor like you want to be treated.
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff. All those, that is a great way in which to live your life by. And like I go back to always saying it. I think that's how society started. I think there was tribes of people, and then they created religion, and then they spread that religion so they could interact between tribes and be fair.
And then you knew that if
just.
another tribe was your religion, then you could trust that they understood the same moral code that you did.
So being able to do that and have those anyway, I would say getting a group of people together, maybe somewhere out in Waco.
I'll play the guitar. Call me David.
No, but I think that's kind of you don't want to be overzealous with that, and this is how we have to. Everybody needs to live, but there's something to be said about saying the Pledge of Allegiance every day.
Oh yes,
there's something to be said about saying this is my tribe, and I'm going to recognize that,
it's bonding.
I'm going to be able we should do that, and the fact that we are getting away from that is the fabric of America is being torn apart and just kind of 100%. Loosened because nobody's willing to say, hey, I am American and I'm happy to be American. I have more freedom in this country than a lot of places.
I think it's coming back the other way.
Oh yeah. Okay. No, there's going to be a
why is Trump so far ahead in the polls?
We're going
not even
but it's
voting yet.
But there's a group of people that are like, hey, you know what? Your flag on the back of your truck, it's racist. And you go, why is it racist? Why is it? Well, because it's bigoted, because you're basically
they're just throwing
you're flying
it
a
doesn't
flag,
matter.
but they're saying you're flying a flag against my pride flag because
Yeah, but
you're doing it only to spite me. And you go, well, you know what? Hey, you're American. I'm American. Let's understand that we can both make a decision and live with it and be okay. As long as you don't want to affect my life and my money and all my shit, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But when you want to start telling me like, hey, I don't like that, so I don't want you to do it.
Yeah.
That's where I got fucking problems.
Yeah.
Because, and that's what
that's what
kind
comes
of
from
left
too many
is.
people living in too close a proximity.
Yeah, but
Because then you start worrying about what's Jordan doing. Like, who the fuck cares what Jordan's doing? If you have a little more space, a little less density of the population, then people are less concerned about what their neighbor is doing.
Well, they have to rely when you take
And
people,
you have to rely on each other.
Well, you have to rely on each other and yourself a little bit more. So you're going to hold yourself to a little higher standard, which means you're going to have to hope that the people next to you are going to be held to a little higher standard, which is like why you're going to go, maybe I should be looking at this book a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I should practice the things that, am I being a good person? Am I doing the things that we all can agree upon is a good thing? Does it matter if I'm fucking doing this or doing that as long as I'm not hurting somebody?
Yeah.
But that's what I mean.
You could relabel the Bible, and then in like smaller print, how to get along with your neighbors.
Well,
you know what I mean? Or the same with the Quran or the Torah, depending on where you're living. It's literally like, here are your instructions for interacting with your community.
Yeah. Or like the seven deadly sins?
Yeah.
Right? And like basically
Gluttony,
it's like, okay.
Lust.
Yeah, so
gluttony.
What
else is it?
it's
We tried to list off the 5 senses last time.
I was thinking about that.
I think we said the same 3 over and over and over.
I was thinking about that and I was like,
Don't bring that up and let's not try again.
They got it.
Dude, that podcast was out of control.
Yeah, what is it? Lust, greed, gluttony, anger.
Anger, yeah.
There's 4. Go ahead, guys, anytime.
You said anger?
Anger.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few of them.
There's 7 of them.
Yeah, and the reason there's 7. You say it, and it's like, of course, yeah. I fucking look it up, but Murphy's Pub on 45th, they have the little they have the heads of like each character. So there's like a greedy looking one, there's a fat one from Gluttony, there's a bunch of them. What do we got?
Okay. Pride, greed.
That's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, and sloth.
What's the difference?
So
was anger one of them?
Wrath.
So where did
anger.
those come from? Where did the 7 sins come from?
I think it's all the things you feel as a human.
Yeah, but somebody wrote down.
It's the things that cause you to do
Yeah,
bad things or to lead an unhealthy life.
But it's also the
But it's
things that
everything you
allow
feel.
my neighbor to not fucking rely on me. If I'm doing any one of those things, my neighbor can't rely on me. So if I'm not following the commandments or whatever, and then I'm doing this on top of it, like I can't have you grow my corn when you're not willing to get up and hoe that shit.
You're lusting and wrathful. Yeah. You have other ulterior motives. But that's what I mean.
Can I contrast that real quick with the 7 heavenly virtues?
That's the one I want
of
to hear.
humility, charity, chastity, gratitude, temperance, patience, and diligence.
Okay.
How to lead a successful life.
Bunch of dudes wearing sweater vests and walking around kittens wrote that list. That is so soft. Nah. So you guys are
chastity.
Yeah. I cry during certain movies. So you guys hit it. No, like
she was a flight attendant.
What I said earlier, like how would you want to be governed? And so you start talking about religion.
Loosely.
No.
Yeah. But it's like, what are these things that they say? Like, they're things that you live your life and you could live it happily, but it also doesn't affect affect me. Like the same way you can't kill a person. Why? Because it inflicts in my life and it puts you kind of in jail.
That's
like the things of sleeping with, like it's a commandment in the Bible. Don't covet the neighbor's wife. Don't bang the neighbor's wife, technically.
Lust.
Yeah, exactly. So all these things are like, how can we live in a society of either 10 people or 1 million people?
If we all did those things,
right,
then we would be able to live perfectly happy. Because why? You would be independent and you'd be able to count on yourself first and foremost.
So how do
you'd be living based on your own accountability?
So how do you put that into governing people, though?
Throw the key away and lock them up when they're pieces of shit. Start killing people.
You hang them in the village square.
So more intense punishment, like
Capital
like the guy
punishment.
from the shooting camp from was he not Taiwan?
Let Jordan finish.
Hit him with a bunch of rocks. I don't care. Like, you know, the thing is,
if you get caught stealing, chop off your right hand.
I mean, there's a certain level of like, I want people to understand that if you're going to be in this tribe, you have to fucking follow some rules. And those rules are not meant to fucking hold you down. You're not the victim. Those rules are meant so you can't make other people victims.
Exactly.
Quit fucking bringing issues to our home. And that's the thing, is like, we're allowing people to bring all kinds of negative energy that are those sins that don't need to be there. And that ends up making it to where we have to fucking carry the weight. And certainly when a society has people that are striving for those positive things, you have the ability to carry the weight. But at some point, people go, well, it's not my issue.
We're tired of dragging this anchor.
Yeah. But people, and that's not because people are mean or bad or anything like that, but there's some people who are like, oh, you should be able to do that. And we need to help them with the money that I don't know how to get except for taking it from everybody. And that's how we're helping people, is giving them our money, our resources to be able to say, hey, we're doing that. Or part of us are going, or a lot of us are going, well, why the fuck are we allowing this person to dick off in the first place?
Yeah.
To where they get into such a spot that they need our assistance.
Yeah.
So I like where you're going with this.
Can we cast them out to a fucking different place? Because a lot of the time, I wish we could just take and have our area and then be like, all right, well,
if you're not a producer,
sorry, you don't want to do what you don't want to live right and like be part of this. Fine, we don't know hard feelings, but there is another spot over here for you, and you can go over there and you can live your life, and that's fine. And because I want to interact, I want to have. I don't want to cast those people away. Maybe there's use there, or there's friendship, or there's anything, but it's like, I also know that like sometimes what's good for somebody is pulling the fucking tit out of their mouth and making them fucking become a man.
Yeah.
And that's not the way society works now. So I want a society that is ruled with fair consequences for your actions. And I always joke and say, fucking, kill them. But that's not the reality, right? Like, that's not what I truly think. It's the most extreme thing to do. Some people, absolutely. And like the trial period and like making the people, what are we doing when we're putting people to death? Like sterilizing anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like what shit like that is a joke to me.
I was just going to say, we'll sterilize 14-year-old kids, but not pedophiles.
Well, we're
how does that make sense?
That doesn't make sense.
We're doing shit that like, I'm talking about like when you're putting somebody to death and taking their lethal injection and they're putting an alcohol swab on their arm.
Why?
What the fuck are we doing anymore? Like why are we in this fucking?
I've had that thought before.
But that's the thing, is like, why are we doing that kind of shit? Like, common sense has gone out the window because people get hurt or people think that, hey, I need to protect you, so this is what I'm going to do to protect you. And I'm going to make a rule where if you don't follow that rule, guess what? You're going to get in trouble now.
And that's how we get overregulated to the point where we're dysfunctional.
So that's, okay, so you guys are nailing this. So why isn't this stuff, if you want to be governed, why aren't everything you're talking about is consequences. Yes, we have the sin of this. We have the sin of gluttony. We have the sin of lust. We have the sin of greed. But why is it not specifically talked about? Like, if you want
It is.
no, it's not, because it's like, if you do this, what happens? If in your society or in your constitution or in your Bill of Rights, if someone does this against you, this is the consequence for it. We say it's bad. Okay, cool. In my head, I've demonized this is not right. But if you really want repercussions, shouldn't it be something that's ingrained in like the doctrine? If you do this, this is the consequence. You can say it's bad all you want. It's bad to rob a store, but there's people robbing stores all around us. But if social media was you're robbing stores and your hand is getting cut off, that is in your constitution. That's in your doctrine. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, like, to be governed and ruled, shouldn't consequences be more put into the doctrine than just these are our morals? Morals are good. They give you a feeling of righteousness.
The problem is when you
have consequences, you have something to react off of.
You're saying you want it codified, and when you when you codify it, then you open yourself up to more code, and then you end up with what we have now, which is a Washington administrative code that's fucking this thick.
But right? If you say life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that also gives you interpretation of what life is, what liberty is.
Okay, we can agree that robbing is not good. Yes?
Yes, not good. What is the consequence?
Why is now the robber...
do we need to go beyond that?
Why is the robber now given so many fucking rights to fight back and justify robbing? That's where we've gotten to. And you're saying, like, how do we decide what is right and how do we decide what is wrong? And at what point does what I believe is right differ from what you believe is right?
We all know that walking into a drugstore and just taking shit off the shelf and walking out with it is wrong. So why is it that the owner of that drugstore can't just shoot that person and take their property back? Why do they have to accept the damage to themselves?
But you can rob me of my substance, like my property. You can rob me of my life. You can rob me of my time. You can rob me of my ass.
Yeah. So why do I have
to
fight back?
So like, shouldn't there be levels? Like,
I mean, you start at the fucking fingers when you're cutting stuff off, and you work your way down. And that's the truth. Like, there needs to be true fucking actual repercussions for this.
But that's what I mean. If we want a society of 100 people,
not like a surgical knife, like a set of dikes to take those fingers off.
Well, they clip fast.
And if you want to be more left about it, we start at the first knuckle. Okay, and we'll work our way down the fingers too.
But all I'm trying to get at is, like, how do you write a doctrine that can honestly be used well for a group of 100 like us?
You keep it simple.
Or
you
a group of a million.
You keep it very simple and vague, like the 10 Commandments, like the golden rule. Do unto others as you would do to yourself.
Yeah.
Or as you would have done to yourself.
When you start making things are so vague, absolute.
But doesn't vague lead to contradiction? Look at the Bible.
No, it leads to freedom of interpretation. Yeah. Gray area. Half the problem with our law and order system is there is no gray area. So if something doesn't fit into the black and white of the administrative code, then they know what to do. Then they call a mistrial and they release the guys.
There you go.
Hang on. Do you think it's because it's gray or it's not properly decentralized? Having a decentralized of anything means no one can have an input. These are things I think about for, like, having corruption.
I think people are able to have input and manipulate things that they shouldn't be able to. Yes.
Right. Each community should be able to enforce, let's just go with the 10 Commandments.
Their laws.
In their own way. And to their own extremes.
So,
what Snohomish County does might be very different from Okanagan County.
Yeah.
But we're all still living off the same loose code.
See, but this is where Mike Zedong comes in when he
Fuck
goes...
that guy.
No. But one of his points was term limits, or it's by popular vote and then you're done, right? So that's a form of decentralization. If you can have a form of rules, but you can have it decentralized where like you're saying the problem with the world, or not the world, but having specific things is that people can say this is what it is, but then those people stay in power for 20, 30 years and they heavy hand it. If you're constantly having new people interpreting the law, if you're leaving that gray area, that's a form of decentralizing, which is currently disrupting it.
I also have a thought, sorry, a little bit of a
No, you're
sideways
fine.
here,
You're fine.
that the pussification of society is partly responsible for it, because there was a time when if you, like when we were kids, if you tried to pinch something from the dime store, they might just grab you and fucking paddle your ass.
That's fine.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you pushed someone on a playground, you might get a bloody nose. You probably would. And you know what I mean? And so now that there's no consequences for pushing people around, there's no consequences for stealing, there's just no consequences for bad behavior anymore. There used to be consequences for bad behavior just
That was direct.
socially. You know what I mean? Like you push somebody around on a playground, you get in a fight.
Yeah.
Right? There was no trial. There was nothing. Now the school writes a report. They email all the parents. Everybody has. It's a giant fucking. It's like, holy shit, what happened? They're like, they threw punches.
But
that's it. Like that. You literally all of this because a couple punches were thrown at recess.
But that's what I mean about, like, why isn't it written? If you do this, what is the consequence for doing it? If you're in school and you pick on a kid, shouldn't there be a rule saying you and that kid go
natural
fight?
law. No, it was natural law. It was either he's a pussy and he's going to back down, or he's not, and you're going to go scrap in the schoolyard.
It is a
that
rule
is
of
natural
law.
Yeah.
It is absolutely the most real.
So you
fucking
pick on
way
a
in
kid,
which, and he gets mad. His emotions that
but
born with.
If you pick on a kid constantly, and then you're like, all right, we're going to give you the option. This kid you're picking on has the ability to now punch you, kick you, everything at noon in the courtyard.
But you
That's a
also
rule. So by every person you pick on, there is also the consequence. You can pick on whoever you want, but that person also has the ability to meet you and fight.
It was part of natural law until we codified it out.
You go, but now you go down this and you go, well, what's picking on?
Yeah, right.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
And that's where Tobin's going. At one point, it was like, hey, fuck you. No, fuck you. Okay, well, let's fight. And now it's like, hey, bud. Like, and they're like, whoa, don't call me bud. Like, oh my God.
You don't know my pronouns?
Yeah. And then, well, shit it's gotten to be so, all of that has gotten to be so fucking lost.
Them. You want to go?
Yeah.
Hey, Zer.
Are you going to fight
Hey,
both of us?
Hey, you fucking Zer.
Yeah. You fighting both of us?
Yeah. Zer. You fighting them?
Yeah, we are coming for you.
Where's the other guy?
Oh, this is another Young Guns quote. Me, my friends, and I.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Mike, you got to watch that movie.
Never saw it. Never even heard about it, too.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Can we call a quick recess?
Do you need a pee break? All right.
Yes, sir.
We'll be back.
Like, if I wanted to be, like, I don't want to be the ruler of it, but, like, what is the best way? If I want to live a happy life, if I want to be Bilbo Baggins in the Shire, with a people of 100 people to
I think
billion
that's what
people.
a lot of us think about, though, when we think about, like, what do I really want?
Yeah.
And we think about that Shire and, like, Bilbo Baggins and having, like, the life of, like, a small group.
But a lot of people think I want that, but what does that entail? I always think about this.
Self-reliance.
Yeah. Hard work.
Yeah.
Willingness to say, hey, I'm going to sacrifice my day plowing a field so everybody here can have.
But like I said, to rule like 100 people to a billion people, if you have a bunch of people in apartments, what does self-reliance mean then? How do we bring this all around? You're fucked.
I mean, that's part of what's happening, right? Like you're creating a thing where they have to rely on you and not the other way around. You're creating a bunch of dependence.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we're all people that could maybe one day buy some land that is like an apartment building. And just because you rent out an apartment building doesn't mean you're a piece of shit. You're offering home for people that have lives. Maybe it's single people. Maybe it's a family with kids. And this is part of their journey, right? So just because you have cities with apartments and stuff like that doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
No, but
so
I think
how do we make a rule
just by
structure?
their nature, that cities can't subsist on their own. They rely on
They're the
outside
end of the
resources.
supply line.
Yeah, they're the end of the supply line.
So
They can't support
that brings
themselves.
back
A
Mike
country-
Zedong. You
No,
guys are
fuck.
we're in my
Throw a beer
house
at him.
tonight. Welcome to the
Throw a
Mike
fucking beer
Arena.
at him.
Part of
Hang on.
Mike Zedong was farming was supposed to be localized. So if you gave cities reliance, you keep talking about reliance. So what do we do to give this true? Like, so you live in the country, you should be able to sustain. So why not the city? Why is farm top community like you're farming on every building, you're having community gardens, you're creating abundance around you. Tyler says that all the time.
If you did your planning correctly to where you kept like low density areas, then yeah.
You could
But
do it on
then we go
rooftops.
back to our population is too fucking dense.
We're still killing the bums that are shitting in them.
Yeah, but density of proximity, not density of population. You can spread out the western side of Washington into the eastern side of Washington, and that density is instantly reduced. There is so much land for everyone. That's what I was saying earlier. The density of western Washington is too dense. If you spread that out across the landmass of Washington itself, wouldn't we be okay?
Did he say
As
the
far
density
as-
is too dense?
The density is too dense.
Yeah. Of Western Washington. It's just too many people stacked on top. And that's
But
if
but
you
it's
can't
not
get
even fucking near what some cities are.
exactly.
It's not even close.
But
But we're
New
having a
York-
breakdown in people willing to be neighborly.
But
We're having
why
a
did New
breakdown
York work until now?
Because
you
it was
could,
supported by the Midwest.
well, and you could handle your shit if you needed to as well. You weren't gonna get in trouble for
Its power came from Tennessee, and its food came from Iowa.
It was it controlled everything.
there was a social aspect that broke
It
down.
wasn't self-sufficient. What we're saying is that rural communities are more self-sufficient.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That was kind of the point I thought we were making.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
yeah, I'll always
everyone's-
make that point.
But if those small communities don't have something to give to the other person trading, say you
What if
grow
they don't want
food
to?
and the
what if
other
it's a depression and they don't want to give anything to somebody in trade?
Why do they need to
Yeah,
have
but the
things
big
to trade?
aren't the big
Because
cities
the city relies on them being willing, right?
The
willing-
generosity of a fucking small town is keeping a city moving.
Yeah. You
And
have
they're being
to
taken
bring it
advantage
from
of
outside.
constantly.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
But
Like
they're being taken advantage of by the fucking government
no, but
because it's
For the needs
what's
of the-
actually being produced.
But
And they're
there's
saying
been
you
time-
have to, but we're also going to hold you to crazy costs and all this. And obviously they get subsidies and things like that, but it's not
Yeah.
the same.
but it's not saying every
And then
person.
they're saying you also don't ever own this land.
yeah, unless you own a condo.
And that's one thing that I think would fucking change shit. Is like you own this land.
You're saying no property tax.
No property tax. Property tax is what keeps our government in control of us.
Yeah.
And while, yes, you want to have some control over your citizens, obviously, but I think if we did away with property tax and not all the other taxes, but just to say, hey, I paid my house off, I own this property, it is now mine, and when I want to train or change ownership of it, then maybe you get taxed there for their fees and like allowing other people to know who owns this land now and keeping up the database, but it's not a big, huge thing. But if we were able to actually own our land outright and do with it what we felt was right and what we wanted to, that wasn't affecting other people's lands with chemicals or whatever the fuck or however they wanted to take care of it. And there was a way in which to do that, like our country would be a completely different place. I think people would have pride. I think people would have ownership, and I think they would really want to take care of what they had. And we don't have the feeling of any ownership of almost anything anymore. So like, why, if I don't own something, why the fuck do I give a shit? So if we were able to make that happen, and once that was in your family, it's being passed down in your family. Oh, I've lived on this land, I've done this, and it's like, great. And we're willing to take care of it and do what we need to be good stewards of it and build with it or produce with it or allow people to live on it and they can rent. And at that point, but that's what the government did now. Like, they're like, hey, we're going to take this land and now we're going to allow people to rent it.
No.
So we're renters. And it sucks to feel that way because no matter what, how many old people get to a point where they can't afford the tax that their house is sitting on, or the land tax that their house is sitting on, or the, you know, whatever it is, property tax. It happens all the time. And the way, all the work that they did, that we're taking that debt on, that whatever 4 trillion, or was it 14?
Yeah, but we're not taking that on. It's being given out. The government is allocating it to someone else. Yeah. Once again, I'm getting back to us. Like, the government acts for someone else. For us, the people.
But I'm saying, like, those people are put in a place to where it's like, hey, well, guess what? This should cover the cost of us fucking stealing from you, is what they're saying. And now that's not covering the cost. It's not covering the cost of the tax that we're fucking charging you because we've let that get out of hand. So we can't give you more than we're taking because we sold it already. So
yeah,
we can't give you any more, sorry. And then other people are fucking using it. I don't know. Back to like what I want to be ruled by would be somebody I know their name, somebody I know their kids, I know their fucking morals, and I know who they are. I don't want a small government. I want a fucking mayor to say, hey, I believe in us, and this is what we're doing, and I trust you, and we all as a group agree that this is who we're going to have in charge, or the best points are being made, or most articulate, or has the qualities we want to see in our own selves, and we'll put that person forward, and they'll go deal with the fucking neighboring village that we're, you know, and then we can fucking make that a thing.
Yeah. Hang on.
I want small.
You made a really good point about cities, though, like in urban areas. Like, to have something tangible that you can, like, put your work in and to allocate effort and you see growth. And, like, with Reliance, like, putting that into your land and it gives back to you and gives you abundance. It's a very good point. And when you have a city, right, you're not really putting that abundance of time and that abundance of effort into the resources around you to give you, like, the basic laws of survival. You know, the cities are what provide the sciences to fly the planes, to give up the effort on focusing on the resources. So it's like, there's a very symbiotic relation between the two. And to think of, like, the perspective of the farmer and the perspective of the city dweller is an interesting dichotomy, because the two are completely different worlds, but without each other, neither one really evolves. The scientist does give better fertilizer, and the farmer provides relief for the worker.
One can survive without the other, and not vice versa.
Yep.
True. But will the other grow with the out there?
Taking advantage of.
One will just continue to
why
exist.
would you need to grow if you're just growing for your family?
Yeah, but I can be a caveman and survive, but I don't want to be a caveman. Aren't we all about growing and becoming better individuals?
I don't believe in cavemen.
But
how many? I'm fucking serious, bro.
I know.
Think about it.
You're out of control.
How many men do you know that don't try to improve their situation in life? Who the fuck thinks that for
Well, they live in
generations we just
inner
squatted
cities.
around fires? Like, well, I guess,
Yeah.
hey, bros, I guess this is the best we can do.
Yeah, but it's
That's all
not
we
like
got.
you develop a cell phone in
No.
a
But you
1,000 years.
You start figuring out how to build shit out of logs and rocks real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you can have
learn,
a
hey,
sweet cave
this
with
back-
an awesome terrace. on the
If I carry around this stick,
Yeah.
I can hit things with it.
Yeah.
I can kill birds with it.
And I
So I'm
can
gonna
also
start
make a
carrying around stick.
gazebo.
So now the business is having this sweet ass stick I can fucking hit things with. And that
You
just
figure out how to
bettered your
build a
life.
stone hut in like 2 generations,
Then
or a
you-
log cabin.
Yeah. You start end up having heating. You
Or
find
what-
out
yeah,
how to
what-
make
whatever
fire.
No,
materials
you
are
guys are
available.
stupid. You would die first.
No.
That cave, you heat up that rock around you with fires, and it provides blockage from the wind in the air. Okay,
How long does it
go
take to
in
heat
your
up a
log
mountain with a
hut
fucking campfire,
and
Mike
die
Kozak?
in the winter? I'm going to
stupid.
survive in my
I'm fucking
cave.
stupid.
Yeah.
Dude, you're
Tell
talking
me about your city log hut. Well, I'm a primitive man living in a cave off of natural resources.
you're living in a cave.
You're a modern dweller.
lighting fire. You just said you're trying to light a fire in a cave. You're gonna die from
Carbon monoxide.
You're gonna
Yeah.
carbon monoxide poison your ass.
I know
and
where
then,
you're going.
And I'm
As
over
soon
here.
as we warm
I got
up
a
this whole
chimney.
mountain, we're all going to be warm.
I'm gonna yeah.
You know how many logs I got in here?
I got a chimney.
I have burned a beaver tail for 17 days.
Holy
What have you done?
A beaver tail. 17.
So much fat. It's like a candle. Oh my god. The scent is horrible.
That's hilarious. Oh, you're serious.
Shit. I don't know. This is just, I mean, I feel like we kind of had a point we're going to talk about and then just went into randomness.
Oh, we did.
Because, I don't know.
Welcome to the show.
Well, yeah, but also
should we
welcome
start?
to the times. Like we always like Israel and Hamas is like out of fucking control. Like the world just keeps going into more conflict and busyness. And what we try and do, I feel like that brings us a little bit of relief is talk about how to like hone ourselves, how to hone a couple people around us, how to hone a couple more people around them. And that kind of devolves into how do you hone your nation? How do you hone your county? How do you hone your state? How do you hone your country? How do you hone the world? What is the best for us to live? Because so much shit seems to be popping off. How do you make life better for around you? Like we know working out and eating right's good for us. So how do you grow upon that?
I think you have to participate in some sort of small community, just like we do at the gym.
Yeah.
Look
Start
at
local
all the
and
stuff.
more global.
We all have sort of an equal influence with 30 other people, or 40, however many people show up on a Monday and a Wednesday. You know what I mean? The regulars.
800 for me.
The
That's
100?
outside the gym.
Got a lot of friends.
I have a fan base. Second episode, I told you guys. It went nuts.
Fire.
Yeah.
Fire.
But how do we make ourselves better? And I think that's kind of like we have points.
When you try and provide something for the betterment of the group you're in, and that group is why I think having a one world, like I think having
government.
Yeah, because having a one world government is not good because
Yeah,
you
I
need
know.
to have teams. You need to have teams because that's what lights a fire under your ass.
Yeah.
I will do
That's
more
true.
for
I'll give
you
you that.
because I care
Yeah.
about what our group is doing.
Yeah.
Like, so I will pull harder
Yeah.
to try and make something happen. So like what I've noticed at like just in our gym and everything we've been doing, people kind of try and fill in the gaps and try and figure out a way in which to provide a new thing or something that adds to everybody's fucking betterment.
Yeah.
That also
Yeah.
ends up adding to theirs.
It
right?
insulates
So, like,
the home and makes it warmer.
yeah, and
fills
we're working,
gaps.
and we're working on those things. And you know, I think we have a jiu-jitsu gym that's connected to fucking training gym, which is connected to firearms.
Dick face over here.
Yeah, firearms training, which is connected to a possible ability to like have a place for people to rent at some point. Then that's connected to a guy who does photography and will document it and get it out there and media and marketing and stuff
And
like
the
that.
shaman.
And dude, we're
We got it all.
Spirit journey.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, you know, then there's a place to send your kids to go to school if you really want to. And then there's ways in which we could help that along. And like, there's different things that's happening that everybody's trying to help out.
You fucking nailed it. But that's what I mean. Like, so how do you write a doctrine of a couple people that infects us like that? Like, we're all so excited to be part of something, and everyone adds so much community. How do you make it like the world's gonna be big? So how do you give that? How do we give community to the world?
Good will sell itself. And when you start living that way and being good and creating this community, people will want to join it. And people will want to replicate it. And if they don't,
yeah, but
then they
Hitler's
don't.
there. Yeah, but you don't with Hitler.
What do you mean you don't with Hitler? What if Hitler had a sweet ass outside single and he came to the gym and like we turned him because he had some crazy ideas and all of a sudden we're like, no, dude, these are great. You know, he's.
Dude, you put enough people in the oven, I don't care how good your single is. So it's like as good as we want to make. Like I say, how do we give this community? You fucked me up
because I don't know the gap that you jumped there with Hitler. Like you said Hitler, and I don't understand where he came in. I'm saying if we have a group of people and everybody's trying to like fulfill more gaps and fill in the gaps in which we see holes in our group,
yeah,
and try and make everything better for us and keep moving forward together and like networking together and doing all that, then like, well, that's just going to get bigger because more people are going to want to be a part of it. And we're going to create more things with the things we go out and do. So people will become part of it. And that is slowly getting bigger. And when you have the fucking, we are doing this because it's the right thing to do. It's building and it's all positivity. It's out of love and caring. Like that's how things go. But at some point,
but how do we give it to the world?
You do it. You start doing it yourself.
Yeah, but you'll do it. But
that's what I'm saying. If I do it and I focus on me doing it, then somebody else, all they got to do is focus on them doing it. Because guess what? I'm doing it over here too. So if we're all just going to be positive and happy and work together, then
we're doing it.
Then we're doing it. Then and it doesn't have to be like I right now am being a piece of shit. So guess what? Like that's what I'm putting out. If you don't do that, then you're going to be doing positive shit or just creating. And now that's good. You're putting good out into the world. Like what's not to be. That's how you do it. You just influence, or you not influence, but you.
But there's always going to be bad sheep. How do you deal with them? You just can't. But that's what I mean. But being good is like
no. We all go okay. No, is it? Are you sure about that? Because I think being good is taking somebody's life. Yeah. I think being good is being able to understand who needs to have their life taken, and who is doing so bad for other people.
So this goes back to the rules.
This goes back to Mike Zedong, because everybody needs to contribute to society.
And if you don't,
absolutely.
And if you don't contribute,
we start with the smallest fingers, first knuckle.
Well, we feed the orca whales.
Feeding the fucking orca. That's right.
Fucking t-shirt cannon and a trebuchet.
The thump.
Okay, so I'm going to take this from this entire podcast. What I have gotten is that the only rule that should be written in the doctrine is if you don't contribute, trebuchet.
Yes.
I mean, that's
to the death.
Pretty
killer whales.
Yeah.
End of story. Like
make sure to mention killer whales.
Yeah, you can interpret, you can do anything, but outside of that, if you're not a contributor, if you're not adding to the guillotine, if
you're not adding to, you're taking away.
Yeah. To the guillotine.
So it's one of those things. It's like if that was everybody's thought process, if that's how people were raised on that. And that's not
so. It makes a work harder attitude and a work harder human.
What if the
do we want people to have to work harder though? I don't think.
What if the attitude?
No,
was,
but that's
what can
evolution. The strongest survive. Work hard. If you're not adding, what are you doing?
We live in a what can I get society. Imagine if we lived in a what can I give society.
Yeah. I feel we all live that. We try hard and we work hard and we provide and we create. We all do that.
Yeah, but we're also taxed to death by the people who are asking themselves, what can I get?
And they're allowed to fucking, that's who we're being ruled by right now, not the givers, the takers.
But
and how fucked up is that?
Has society changed? Has society been like, give me, are they less producing, do you feel?
What?
Is society itself less producing? They're not makers.
We're more efficient, but we have fewer. The ratio of producers to takers is way askew now. I think it used to be like there was 70% of business was the private sector and 30 was government. And now
involved
we're approaching
with colleges, government, in science.
And now we're approaching government is almost as big as the private sector. And that balance, like that doesn't
It's very skewed. Yes, yes.
Because the government provides nothing. And
chase the money, man. You put it in an economic level. And I mean, that's the playing field. Is once again, that's what I went to. What's the debt owed to? It's like, if it's like a war bond and it's owed to the people, if you've paid your money in, because we got out of the Great Depression and we went into World War II, we were already out of money. But what funded World War II was the people, and the people got
labor
paid.
units,
labor units and war bonds, putting all your money into war bonds,
creating something tangible, produced wealth. Right? So because we shipped all our manufacturing overseas, now we don't produce a lot of tangible goods. We produce a lot of services and like a tech-based economy. Mm-hmm. So that
when times are good, we're fucking golden. But when times are tough, we are in a scary spot.
Yeah. Because we're not producing a lot of tangible goods.
But we were fucked then, and we made the right decisions, whereas now I don't feel we're making the right decisions. Because the people were the ones that were still buying into it. Our debt, no one says I will pay into this war on Ukraine. Yeah. Let me put money up. How many people with flags in their profile have paid money towards it? This is where I'm getting. How do you make community? How do you write this doctrine? I feel voting with your dollar is the most impactful thing because it's how you live your life.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
So if the thing you can do is put your money towards
being taken away from
exactly.
me before I can vote with it.
Yeah.
Right? So
what the fuck?
You only get to vote with half his dollars.
Now we're getting closer. How do we get to these doctrines that affect us?
You
that
say
are written?
we just don't pay tax anymore. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Are you guys with me?
Yeah.
I want everybody to pause this. I want you to
timestamp.
Yep.
Exactly. Go claim 99.
Yep. Go claim 99 and tell them to eat shit.
What's 99?
It's your exemptions that you claim on your W-2 form from the IRS.
Mm-hmm. Good old taxes.
Mm-hmm. That's the reality, right? Like you start having your vote and your voting with your dollar is far less impactful when they're taking as much as they want. Because then it's like, go ahead, don't do that, and I don't give a shit.
But it's not just like, here's your taxes and this is what you owe. It's like your taxes are sales tax, tax through cigarettes, sin tax through porn, tax for gas. We got road taxes. We got a tax for the levy. We got a tax for this. We got a tax.
But we got a tax on
everything
the tax
is
on the
tax.
tax.
Yeah.
I am buying a candy bar that I had to pay tax on, which the guy who fucking got it to sell it has to pay tax on. Yeah. And then he has to pay tax on his fucking employees that he's employing. Yeah. Then he's paying tax on the shit, like all the shit to get there. Everything is being taxed like crazy. And then the government's going to call, you also have to pay a business tax to do all that. And it's like, whoa, how many times are these dollars being taxed? Money's just going into the government like nobody's business. And then you get taxed. And they keep wanting more.
Those are just your state and they're like, local taxes.
And then they're saying, we can't operate. We need more. All this, and we need, just a little bit more. What do you guys think? I think you're fucking an idiot if you're going to allow the government to take any more of your money and be that fucking inefficient with it. Do more with
Fall
less,
of Rome,
fucks.
Overtaxed, underrepresented. And goddamn, it feels like there's a very
strong
similar parallel right now. It feels very similar.
Yeah, but we have ARs.
Should have gone more. Oh, that guy's back went out.
He just sneezed his back out.
Fuck.
Oh my God.
That was painful.
His nose touched his anus. It was incredible. The flexibility on this guy. Training Northwest, you guys. If you want to see true mobility and performance, Training Northwest LLC.com is your one-stop shop.
I think they're going to start a yoga.
Yeah. Hot yoga. Yeah. That was cold yoga.
Functional fitness for broken down Rangers.
All right. Well, should we wrap up this broken down Ranger podcast?
Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
I just
Or do we continue?
I feel like there's always something left to say as far as this goes, because you play devil's advocate so well.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Did we ever even touch on Israel and Hamas?
Now go for it.
No, let's say
Because what happened? $6 billion went missing, and all of a sudden,
right? Yeah.
well, not missing. It got
not missing.
paid for 5
It
dudes
got
or
sent
6
to Iran
dudes.
and then sent to Hamas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no clue. Well, I have no clue what you guys are talking about.
You haven't been following the
No.
Hamas invasion into Israel?
I saw some rockets.
We are so yeah, devil's
Are you
advocate.
fucking with me? Or are you?
Devil's advocate over here. Who's the best now?
No, I mean, I'm wondering like what the want is. Who wants what and why?
I would
Is
say
it
there's. I
because
would
of that,
say
or is
there's-
it vengeful?
I think it goes deeper than that. I think it's people inciting warfare for the sake of throwing the world into chaos.
I think
I think somebody's trying to start World War III.
yes, it's already started. The wars of this has been starting for a while, right?
Eastern Europe and the Middle East are now at war.
When it really got politicized, I felt, is the Ukraine-Russia thing. And like when that happened, like the drums of war really beat hard.
Yeah.
And it is and when that happened, the way we've pushed North Korea, Russia, Iran, all these groups even closer together. China is so close involved with it. I feel like it's like this old regime. When World War II happened, in like the split of Russia and the United States, and Russia sent so many people. They fought so hard, and I don't know. A rift was torn between us. And it kind of carried over with a lot of Asian countries in the Indo-Pacific Wars, and I don't know, something big is carried over from the last 80 years. I don't know what it is.
Oh, you feel like you have a strong opposition to Russia?
No, I'm not opposed, but like the alliances of communism and what happened post World War II, kind of Russia getting fucked over and Russia kind of pairing with China and then North Korea.
They didn't get fucked over. They chose communism.
They chose, but they also got shut down by the United States. They sacrificed everyone they had, and they almost won World War II. I'm not saying...
I mean, they did win World War II.
Yeah, exactly. But I felt like they were like, we're going to help.
They
we're
were
going to
already a
rule the
communist.
rubble. But they're like, we're going to rule the rubble. And the United States is like, nope, you can't rule the rubble. We're going to fucking put a blanket around all of this. Like, this is what we're talking about. Like the U.S. being too involved with every foreign conflict. Yeah. And this is where it started.
I think the Soviet Union
World
would have
War II.
spread all the way through Western Europe then.
Yeah, maybe.
That wouldn't have been good. Like,
not the best. But I think we set up walls instantly. I think we set up walls.
That was the beginning of our
and
empire
that was
building.
the push.
That was when the United States became an empire.
Yeah.
Was at the end of World War II.
But that was the push from World War II into the Cold War. And China was with us during World War II. And what happened right after?
We installed Chiang Kai-shek.
Became fierce allies
and
too. And they
then came
paired
Mao Zedong.
Yes.
To fuck
And
that
paired
guy.
who?
Huh?
Communists?
Yeah.
Yeah, Russia. So we're getting a lot of parallels. And North Korea, South Korea. What happened immediately after World War II?
Yeah,
Can I quit saying communist? right? This is where everything happened.
This
was
fucking
World War II.
He's a fucking savage.
This is the precedent of which everything changed. And I think this is we're paying for it 80 years later. This are the echoes of the past, and we're dealing with it. And you have your dispersions, the Eastern fronts are like, it's become more radicalized, but it's through influence. How much was Russia in Afghanistan?
Yeah.
How much were they in Syria post?
Yeah.
These are the rumblings of the past, and this is what's about to happen. And it's all firing off.
Yeah.
Happening now all at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm scared.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
So I'm preparing.
Oh man. Well,
yeah, I think that's a nice little.
there's your current event.
There's a
tie
happy
on
note to end your life on.
All right, guys.
The podcast, he means.
Yeah.
the podcast. Jesus. All right, over and out.
Hey, you just read history. That's what happens.